Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is a new video, and I will be honest, I spent way too long on this downpipe, but I'm very happy with the way it fits. Couple things. We have to dodge the turbo. You had to dodge the coolant lines. You had to dodge the transmission adapter plate. You have to dodge the frame. You had to dodge the transmission lines on the transmission. And I wanted to make sure that the transmission could be pulled without the downpipe. On top of that, I wanted to make sure that the downpipe was two-piece and could easily be installed, uninstalled. So without further ado, look at this masterpiece here. Now, there are more pie cuts than I am comfortable with. However, that is just how it ended up being. So this is the turbo side. Then we have a 4-inch V-band here that is kind of just past the adapter plate. And then this piece is what hooks to our 5-inch that came in the exhaust. Now, the only thing that I need to do is add about an inch onto here, just so we get more contact with the downpipe. You guys can see here, this is where the downpipe actually sits in. So I got about an inch. I'm going to add about another inch into it just for good connection. But that's what it looks like. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. The only part that kind of got away from us, these couple pie cuts here, they just got a little hot, but they're pretty strong. This one was fine. These two back-to-back are fine. These two are fine. But when you start getting into pie cuts right into a flange, you start actually double stacking weld on top of weld. But I'm going to go ahead and get this downpipe installed, show you guys what it looks like, and then we're going to get our compressor cartridge installed, and then we're going to start working on the mid pipe and the hot pipe. As you can see, we did take our wiring harness down in hopes of a wire tuck. I'm still not ruling that out yet, but fun. And we also had to drain our coolant out, and I have to essentially clock this line now up and over the AC system right there, which is fine, but unfortunately we did have to drain the coolant to get there. Guys, I've never claimed to be the world's best fabricator. We are just the guy doing it out here. I'm finally comfortable with charging people money to fabricate things, but again, for those of you guys doing it at home, if you try to compare yourself to people that do this for a living, like John Trotto, Cody Fisher, Keaton Samples, just to name a few, Zig, Whitley Peterson, guys that do this day in, day out, you're going to be disappointed. So Logan Phillips, I'm sure I'll miss a few, but like the guys that do this is all they do. You'll always be disappointed. But for a guy just doing it in our garage, not bad. So what we have here, 3-inch hot pipe with the brackets, as I showed you guys in the first video. We have the PDD turbo, and now we have our downpipe. You guys can see here the maze that we made here. So now you guys see why that coolant line needs to go up and over. There's more clearance there. You guys can see we got about a 1/4 inch between the turbo housing and the downpipe, which if that does rattle, we can kind of sand that down a little bit, grind it down to make clearance, but I think we'll be good just with how well everything's braced here. And then we'll come down. You guys can see through the fender. We got quite a bit of cab clearance here. Now remember, these motors torque over like this. They go passenger side down. So you want more clearance on the outboard side than anything when they rotate. Oh, and even put the cross bolts in there. Hot diggity dang. And then I'm gonna take you guys under here and do my best to show all the things that we had to dodge under here. Okay, so let me get this camera focused. You can see here that I was really focused on transmission clearance. So you can pull the trans without messing with that downpipe. Simply just pop the V-mand off and you can get to all the bolts. And if you want, how this works is, come on, focus. You basically just push the exhaust back and that sheets this pipe out. You guys can see here, I'll pull it back in like that. And then we gave ourselves extra clearance around the trans lines. As you can see here, a lot of clearance on the frame, a lot of clearance on the frame. Honestly, looking at this, I could have done a 5-inch downpipe, but I didn't want to. A lot of money for not a lot of gain, so we'll leave it. But that is all the things that we had to take into account. And again, as I told you guys, do not compare yourself to those people. Don't compare yourself to me. Just do you. It'll get better every time, every time, every time. Now, we're gonna drop the compressor cover and center cartridge in, and then we're gonna start working on our interstage pipe. The interstage pipe is the compressor outlet of your big Atmo turbo into your high pressure turbo. The big focus on this one is oil filter serviceability. I don't want to have to remote mount my oil filter. I will if I have to, but I don't want to. Once we finish the interstage pipe, we will then work on the intake pipe. That is going to be where your air filter, and in this case, our intake air temp sensor and our mass airflow sensor are going to be mounted. On a 6.7, you have both. On a 5.9, you just have the intake air temperature sensor. Now, when you look at this, we have an oil line, which, to be fair, this oil line, I know it's rubbing this bracket. 2 options. First option, I do it out of AN and run it closer to the block. Option 1. Option 2, I loosen it there, kind of clock it a little bit. Option 3, which is probably more so the option, this is all steel right here. You can essentially just put a boxed end wrench on this and bend it down to get clearance as well. So those are our 3 options. And then our last thing that we're going to be doing is remaking our intercooler pipe. This intercooler pipe here, it's got that nasty 45 down there. It's got a big dent in it right here. I think I have enough 3-inch to do it. It'll be a straight piece, probably a 45 and then a 45, and then we will make that a straight boot down there, a straight boot here. To do that, we reached out to Power Driven. They sell boots and clamps. So we're going to be utilizing these 2.75 to 3-inch boots. Again, guys, coupon code Josh if you want to save some money. We also have 3-inch clamps, 2.75-inch clamps. And then I realized when we did all this tow truck stuff, we did stock push rods and valve springs. So when we send our injectors out, we'll be doing push rods, valve springs as well to make sure we're set up for the boost. Now, I'm going to get everything mocked up and kind of show you guys how this is going to work. Last thing to make this kit work, we did get one of these PDD 3 to 4 by 3. So this boot is 3-inch on one side, 4-inch on the other, 3 inches tall. It is the 5-ply, very, very heavy duty boot. And they have a pretty decent heat rating. I want to say it's over 350 degrees continuous, which is nice. And then the 5-ply boot style, really, really hard to blow these up. So I always try to use PDD boots when I can. Guys, I'm working on Power Driven to make a OEM 4th gen 13 to 18 boot kit. Please, if you're interested, drop it down in the comments if you would be interested in a kit like that, and I will forward that along to Will Todd over there and let them know, like, hey, you need to make this kit. As of right now, they don't. They stopped at the 10 through 12 trucks, but let me know. A little tech tip tab, or tech tip for fab. You're going to secure the exhaust side and then just kind of hand tight the compressor so that way you could still move it, but it's kind of hard, and the center cartridge, and then tape this up so you don't get a bunch of schmag in your oil part of the turbo. So now you guys can kind of see what we have to achieve here. So we need to go from here into here. Now, not too bad. If you guys look there, we're gonna have to kind of 45, maybe what I envision seeing here is a 45 to cheat the pipe over, followed by a 90 in with a straight piece with a oh my goodness, like a flare. Why can I not think of this? Basically the barb for the boot to grab, and I can't think of a bead, a boot bead. I don't know, holy cow, I'll think of it. But I do have that tool, so we will be able to put a little crimp on there for our boot to grab. The nice part about this Interstage pipe, number one, on towing stuff, you know, we might see 60 pounds boost. I feel like that's about all we're ever going to see out of this, given the fuel and everything. We're only really going to get about 20 to 25, I'd assume, out of this big turbo here. So not crazy boost. And because you have a V-band connection here, that one boot really, it can't blow the tube out. It can't really rotate the tube as long as the V-band's tight. So this one, you just don't want to be yanking on the boot. Like, you want it to kind of be straight in to allow it to work. So I'm gonna get something kind of mocked up and I'll show you guys as we go. I tell you what, boys and girls, when you're good, and we are feeling the creative juices flowing. I mean, look at that fit up. Hot diggity dang. I like that. Oh yeah. Don't mind that little gap there. The weight of all of it's kind of pushing down on the boot joint. So if you like push up, it goes away, but there you go. All right, and as you can see there, no gaps. We got a nice straight in the boot. Boot's not being yanked in any direction. I freaking love this. We have great engagement on that pipe. There's about, actually too much. I'll take about a ½ inch off the pipe that goes in the boot. And then to remove it, you loosen this clamp like so. And then you'll have to pull the pipe out with the boot, unfortunately, at least until I hack this up. But if you look, that's how much of the pipe is in the boot. So we could probably take a good portion of that off there and maybe be able to get this in and out without even fighting it. Probably take at least a ½ inch off, but I'll get you guys set up and we'll finish weld this out. And just so you guys don't think I'm BSing, I mean, look at this fit up, guys. That is the one takeaway in all my years now of TIG welding. I started pretty heavily in 21, so I'm 4 years into my journey. I'm not a professional, semi-amateur at best, but the fit up is key. Getting clean edges, acetoning, all of that stuff is absolutely instrumental, and having the right tools. So this is a V-band like block off plate. You can use it as a boost leak tester, or in my case, I use it as a back purge and to stop this flange from warping. This is just a vibrant setup clamp, but you buy these from Austin Deutsch. I'll put his social media down here. Just PM him and he'll sell them to you. He also sells, if you do a lot of like HX35 stuff, and I'm pretty sure, if I know Deutsch, guy's brilliant. If you guys need any other flanges or stuff and you're willing to send him measurements, I guarantee you he could probably make those for you as well. And you get to sport a racer and somebody who's really passionate about our industry. So it's kind of a win-win-win. I've had these now for probably 4 years. I've never needed to buy another one, so I kind of feel bad. It's kind of like one of those you buy once and you never do it again. But great investment. They're made out of aluminum, great heat sink. To make sure the gas flows out, you just put an 1/8 inch MPT bung hand tight, back it out about a quarter turn. It'll let a little bit of gas escape. And when you're welding really close to the flange, you don't melt these pucks. Let's get to work, guys. It is time to weld. Okay, so I apologize, guys. I got on the phone with Meyer, got a little distracted, but we're gonna go ahead, show you guys this. You guys caught the back end of the welding process there. I do apologize. And then you caught me bead rolling this. So I've been working, cut our compressor cover down, which I knew we were gonna have to, for better clearance on this intake. And then I'll show you guys what we're doing on the intake, and probably show you the biggest mistake people make with 6/7s on this. So let me get this pipe thrown in and show you guys how it looks. As you guys can see here, we have plenty of clearance between the manifold. The boot is not yanked one way or the other. Comes in pretty smooth. Maybe when I pull this intercooler pipe, you'll be able to see it better, but I mean, nice bead on there, full boot engagement. That clamps upside down, rock on. But the rest, now, when we come to our intake pipe, I had to cut this down so that way this boot here fits all the way on there. And then our air filter, which is right here, this is a dirty old one I use for just doing that. We're going to cut a piece of straight pipe to go right here, and our filter will be fed through our factory grill opening, and it'll come right here. Should be nice. It'll be one weld onto the compressor, which makes it easier. And then we're gonna mount our bungs. Now, your mass airflow and your intake air temp sensor, you wanna mount those in, if possible, a straight section of pipe, pretty close to the air filter, all right? Now, if you do, for whatever reason, have to mount them in a bend, there are low pressure and high pressure sides of a bend. So make sure you think about that if you have to weld it in a bend. 90s are really the worst. 45 is not as bad, but this is why on second gen swaps with 6/7s, this will make or break you where your MAF is. So on this one, we are going to go about right here. Good airflow. It'll look somewhat decent. And this kit is very quickly wrapping up. And here it is all done up. This obviously will be a little bit more back like that, but tucked down, literally jammed right into that hole. And we will put our mass airflow sensor on the bottom, intake air up here. That way our harness can reach, and we'll be good to go. In the straight part, right, basically the MAF bung will be the stop for the filter. So it should look pretty clean in there, and I'm looking forward to it. Clean. We'll have this one weld here. So of all the welds I've done today, hopefully this one will be the best. I'm not even sure if we have enough gas. I killed a whole bottle between the downpipe, finish welding the hot pipe, and the interstage pipe. But we shall see. All right, and here you go. There's our hole. We might have to go back in there and trim that out a little bit with a burr, but I did test it with the sensor. I might have just made this hole a little off. No, it just needs to go a little deeper, but that's okay. We can fix that after we weld it. I did these a little close for really because I needed to make sure the wires reached, but hindsight being 2020, I should have made it a little further. Clearly the night has gotten away from us, but there she is, just as designed. There's our intake air, and there is our MAF, straight part of the pipe, filter. I don't know, part of me wants to cut this 45 back a little bit and have this come up a little more. Part of me wants to take advantage of the air coming in through there. So I don't know. How about you guys let me know in the comments? Should we make it come up a little bit more, cut back into this 45, leave it? I feel like function is decent right now. And there's our interstage pipe, intake pipe, hot pipe, down pipe. Everything is finish welded and done. Now for my next trick, we got to do this intercooler pipe, but that will be for another video. So again, guys, we are trying to be productive here. I am very happy with it. Everything's welding real nice. We are officially out of gas, which, you know, just means we've been busy. I also could get a little bit more clearance. All I have is 5.5-inch inlet filters, so I'm gonna have to swap this out for a 5-inch. That's why there's this sleeve in here, but this will get us up and running. Turbo really doesn't move much. I still gotta obviously put clamps on there, but now what we're gonna focus on probably tomorrow before I end this video off. Right now you get to look at her in the daylight. We are working on our turbo plumbing, as I alluded to. So first things first, we're gonna get our oil drain, like our -10 O-ring oil drain beat into the block, and then we got to put this on the bottom of our turbo. We have a Vibrant -10 to 1/2-inch NPT adapter, and then going into the turbo we have our 1/4-inch NPT to -4. Coming out of the oil filter housing we have our 1/8-inch NPT to -4, and then we might be able to actually use an old line, so that's always a bonus, not having to make stuff. We shall see on that though. Okay, once you remove said oil filter, you guys see down there by that harness? Yeah, that's where we got to get. That is the plug. Now, what I'm gonna do is take my drill on a wire wheel, and I'm going to wire wheel the plug out in that area, brake clean it, wipe it out, so that way when I hammer this in, all the dirt doesn't fall straight into the engine block. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it really matters. That's what an oil filter's for, but we try to do the right thing. All right, so we will do that. And then we're going to use a hammer and a punch. And in a great world, it spins and you're able to pop it out. Reality, it's gonna go right into the block, and we'll get it when we pull the oil pan in a few thousand miles. We'll see. Okay, so some time has passed, obviously, and you guys can see we removed our NOx #1 module, as well as a ground from the battery and a ground for the harness, and we have a much better shot now at that plug. I will wire brush it for reference. This is what we removed here. Obviously we're gonna put this back on, of course, but this gave us more room, got that harness out of the way, and then here is our ground cable that I removed off that. Now you guys notice I said ground. All right, so we're gonna have to, when we put this back together, obviously we'll still have that bracket and our NOx sensor there, but you want to make sure that you put this back on the block and hook that ground up on your harness. Okay, now as far as the block ground over here, I'm not sure if I'm going to add another ground or not, but either way, you know, just letting you guys see, you got to hook this ground back up. You don't necessarily have to put your NOx sensor back on depending on how your truck's calibrated, but this should go back on. All right, as you guys can see, we have our plug brake cleaned. Try to move this for you guys here. This little ground here out the way. Wire brushed it, and now, you know what, guys, I already know how this is gonna go. So let's not kid ourselves here. We're just gonna, like I said, this is my own truck. And into the oil pan it goes. You know, it's one of those things, you know, there's just inevitabilities in life. Number 1, death. Number 2, taxes. Number 3, your wife's always gonna get mad at you for spending money on race truck parts. Now we'll go ahead and goop up our new PDD thing and get it thrown in there. All right, now these PDD block drains install fairly easy. Get the camera set up there. You're going to put a little Loctite on the O-ring, like so. And then these things, oh God, come back. Hold on, let me grab a magnet. There we go. Now, I know there's a company out there, and I'm not gonna single them out, but it's called Tombstone. They make a self-locking thing that allows you to pull your AN fitting out of your block. I have yet to ever find a need to pull it out, because you either cap it when you're not using it, or when you inevitably put a hole in your block, you just beat it out when you take the oil pan off. All right, and there you have it. One oil drain line fitting beat into the block. Now we're gonna come over to, I think we're gonna 45 over this way and come up. Let me zoom you guys out. 45 over, come up through the coil bucket and pipe, and then come up right here. So I'm thinking a 45 in the straight. Sorry about that, guys. Customer drop off for a WP68 just happened. So here is our turbo drain. As you can see, I did take a 9/16 drill bit and drill this out. Even the vibrant ones need a little reaming. Here is our vibrant -10 hose here. Again, with your turbo drains, guys, I just want to clarify this, okay? The turbo drain being a -10 is fine if you use quality fittings. When you start to use the cheap knockoff fittings, that is when these become a problem, okay? So we're gonna do a 10 drain, it'll be fine. With a 4 feed, it'll be fine. I'm gonna get this thrown on here. We left off getting that bracket off there. I gotta put that wire harness kind of tucked up out of the way and zip tie it before I put the drain on. And I'll show you guys this last little piece and we'll end this video off here. Okay, folks, and we'll wrap this video up here. You guys can see we got our turbo feed running nice. I caulked this clamp correctly. Even got the Tycon logo showing up. You guys can see here, we got our oil filter. I can actually install it. So to change the oil filter on this truck now, instead of going through the fender, I will simply remove our intake pipe, set it off to the side, pull the filter out just like normal. You can also get it out just like normal as well if you wanted to. This kit does not interfere with that, and I'm happy. We got our oil drain line routed, all nice. Now I know what you guys are thinking, it's awful close to that clamp. So for starters, the clamp's actually on the wrong side, so that's cool. And then the other thing too is I'm going to wrap the oil line in some heat protective tape, as well as this coolant line. It's just not here yet. And you know what? YouTube doesn't wait on Amazon. So we got our straight fitting down, 45 into the block, drain line, unimpeded downward flow, oil feed line, -4. Again, I got to pull this all apart, clean everything, wrap our hot pipe and our downpipe, put our coolant line in, put our coolant tank back in, as well as the wire tuck I've alluded to. So we're not done, but to keep these videos flowing and linear, making sense, this is where we'll end this video. We have all of our piping done, oil feed, oil drain, showed you guys the block drain, kind of showed you guys a little bit of the Interstage pipe fab. Again, don't take it personal on the downpipe. It was a absolute MF to do. I can tell you this, if you guys want this kit, I will only build it on your truck here, and it is not going to be cheap at all. This was a lot of work, took a lot of layout, which we could cut the layout down now, but if you have a Steed, you want to run a big SXE cover, get rid of your battery, wire tuck your fork in, reroute your coolant. This is not a cheap job, but I want a truck that looks clean when you pop the hood, and I think we're getting there. We will get our compressor cover powder coated. I'll probably clear coat the Interstage pipe. I will clear coat the intake pipe. We will probably Cerakote the hot pipe and the downpipe and then wrap them. And then I still got to make those 2 little dinky brackets for the dipstick tube, as well as the exhaust pressure tube. But we're getting there. Progress. I'm very excited. Realistically, we could fire this up. I don't want to yet. The coolant's not all there. I did have a leak on my coolant tank that I had to weld, so that's over there drying somewhat or cooling off. But again, guys, if you like what you see, FIS turbos, you guys already know I got a discount code. Power Driven Products also have a discount code. It's what I use, so I don't mind promoting it. A couple other companies as well in here, Race Part Solutions, Stainless Pros. That is what we use to make it happen. Again, we have a wire tuck video coming. We also have a new fleece performance product coming that we're going to do an install video on. We got the battery relocation video that we got to do as well. So we have quite a bit to do here. Yeah, I'm just looking at this like, dang, a lot of stuff to do, but we'll get there little by little. I did order our new fuel stuff, or paid for it today. That's nice. Yeah, a lot of fun, guys. Give this one a big thumbs up. Drop your comments down below. Subscribe if you are not already. And as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.